The Democratic Party's sweeping victories in recent U.S. elections have sent a sharp political message to President Donald Trump, putting his hardline immigration policies and rollback of diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI initiatives under serious public scrutiny. The results from key races in Virginia, New Jersey, and New York City mark the first major electoral test of Trump's second term, and they indicate that the public may be pushing back against the administration's polarizing social and cultural agenda. A political backdrop of resistance. After nearly a year of Trump's second administration, the nation has been gripped by heated debates over immigration enforcement, border policy, and the dismantling of DEI programs across federal agencies and schools. Trump's efforts to restrict immigration, intensify deportations, and criminally pursue local officials who resist federal immigration orders have sparked nationwide protests. Meanwhile, his directive to eliminate DEI initiatives has been condemned by civil rights groups and embraced by his conservative base. Against this backdrop, the Democrats' electoral performance signals a rejection of the extremes of Trump's agenda. In traditionally competitive states, Democratic candidates successfully framed the election as a referendum on fairness, inclusion, and basic American values. Their campaigns blended economic themes, such as affordability and job security, with moral appeals to equality and justice. That formula seems to have struck a chord with a broad coalition of voters, including young people, minorities, and suburban moderates. Immigration is a flashpoint. Trump's aggressive immigration policies have been among the most controversial elements of his presidency. The administration's threats to prosecute state and local leaders who refuse to cooperate with federal immigration crackdowns created tension between Washington and sanctuary cities. These confrontations have now become political liabilities, as many voters view the measures as heavy-handed and un-American. Exit polls in recent races reveal that a majority of voters, while supportive of border security, believe Trump's approach has gone too far. Stories of families separated or legal residents deported under mistaken enforcement orders have added emotional fuel to Democratic campaigns. Latino and immigrant communities, which had shown signs of fragmentation in earlier years, have reemerged as a powerful voting bloc in opposition to Trump's hardline tactics. The war on DEI. Just as divisive has been Trump's crusade against DEI, a cornerstone of his cultural war narrative. The administration's move to defund or dismantle programs promoting workplace diversity, equal opportunity in education, and racial equity has energized conservative supporters but alienated many moderate and corporate allies. To many voters, the assault on DEI represents a rollback of civil rights progress. Democratic candidates have capitalized on this sentiment, positioning themselves as defenders of inclusion, fairness, and community representation. In states like Virginia and New Jersey, Democratic victories were powered by coalitions of educators, public employees, and young professionals concerned about DEI rollbacks. Many voters saw Trump's rhetoric on DEI, branding it as woke indoctrination, as divisive and unnecessary at a time when Americans face more pressing economic struggles. Why the sweep matters. The recent Democratic surge does more than shift a few local offices, it challenges the very narrative of Trump's governance. These victories expose a vulnerability in the Republican strategy of doubling down on cultural grievances. They suggest that Americans, particularly in diverse and suburban regions, are weary of constant confrontation and eager for inclusive leadership. The elections also demonstrate the growing political power of minority and immigrant communities. Voter turnout surged among Latinos, Black Americans, and Asian Americans, many motivated by opposition to Trump's immigration policies and his attempts to erase DEI from public life. This shift could have national implications ahead of the 2026 midterms. Implications for Trump's agenda. For Trump, the Democrats' sweep is a political warning. His team faces a choice: continue the confrontational approach that fires up his base or attempt to moderate policies to appeal to broader America. Advisors close to Trump insist he will not soften his stance on immigration or DEI, believing the backlash is temporary. Yet if Democrats continue to convert cultural outrage into electoral victories, Trump's intransigence could become a strategic liability. The administration is also likely to encounter greater resistance from state governments. Democratic governors and mayors, emboldened by the recent results, are expected to challenge federal immigration mandates and enact local DEI protections, creating a patchwork of defiance that mirrors the political divide across the nation. Looking ahead, the Democratic sweep reveals a possible blueprint for opposition to Trump. combines strong economic messaging with a defense of equity and inclusion. It also highlights the limits of the culture war politics that dominated Trump's return to power. While his rhetoric continues to energize his most loyal followers, it risks alienating independents and moderate conservatives who crave stability and unity. As America heads toward the midterm elections, the question is whether Democrats can sustain this momentum and broaden their coalition, or whether Trump will recalibrate and regain control of the national narrative. What's clear is that the recent elections have forced a reckoning. Voters are testing how far they're willing to follow the president down a path defined by division and confrontation.